Okay, thank you for inviting me. What China is doing on to the WTO is just a gesture to show China is absolutely against what the Donald Trump's move on the tariffs. Of course, Beijing would understand and know the final result with the United States is the bilateral negotiation and also whether either Beijing or Washington would give the benefits or either mutual benefits for each side. For the WTO mechanism, I don't think China would really rely on and believe, and it is just as I have said, it's just a gesture to show what China is against, what the United States is now doing, and show the other parts of the world that is China is representing all the other countries except the United States is against the Donald Trump's tariff move. It
Now,
is
sir,
the biggest reason.
let me ask you, how significant is this World Trade Organization discussion in the broader context of rising global trade tensions?
I would say, okay, so the WTO mechanism was established during the era of the globalization is booming and ongoing. So both the Western world and also the China and the developing world is believing globalization, economic globalization is good for the world. But now, including United States, including Europe, including maybe China as well, they are doing the opposite. That is, they are dropping the mercantilism policies. They are having their policies of protecting their own industries, not to be under the disadvantage of the other countries' competitions. So I would say, okay, now we still have the WTO mechanisms, but it seems the WTO is dead because nobody, I would say the major economies and the great powers do not believe or rely on the WTO mechanism as well. Maybe the small country, yes, but not the major powers.
Now, speaking of the mechanisms, the World Trade Organization chief has warned against retaliatory measures, citing catastrophic consequences. How likely is that member states will heed this advice?
I would say first, the Donald Trump won't listen to his advice because being the U.S. president and even being the United States, the Washington believe it is the only global power of the world, and it is the only the power that can decide the rule of the world. And especially Donald Trump believe the WTO mechanism and the rule of the economic globalization is being greatly exploited by the rise by China. So that's why now we are seeing the unilateral movement, the belief and the movement by the Washington, especially Donald Trump. And also, of course, the China is benefits a lot from being the members of WTO in 2001. And now Xi Jinping and Beijing also knows the Washington does not believe the mechanism anymore. And now they also know the United States is doing all the things against China. So that's why I would believe the China, okay, yes, he's doing the formal procedures of filing all kinds of complaints against the United States, but it doesn't believe it does not believe the mechanism or the WTO would help China anymore. Yeah.
Now, sir, moving on to the European Union, which has expressed serious concerns over Trump's global reciprocal tariffs. What are the most immediate risks for the US-EU economic relations?
I would say it is the so-called the tariff. Okay, just see what the Donald Trump do in the first against the Canada and Mexico. Oh, it is just I would say it is just a gesture of Donald Trump to forcing the Canada and Mexico to comply with the United American interests for the illegal immigrants and also fentanyl And also, the most important is to forcing the Canada and the Mexico to stand against China together with the United States. So for the potential or maybe the tariff against the European Union, I would say it is also the same gesture for the Donald Trump to negotiate. It is his style to negotiate with the no matter it is allies or no matter it is adversaries of the United States. It is the style of Donald Trump. Okay, that is Donald Trump would like to negotiate, or maybe he doesn't believe. Okay, it is the on the interest of the American, and then he will use strong words, all kinds of bluffing to try to forcing the maybe allies or the adversary to compile and with the United States. It is his style. So I would say yes. There is the trade or maybe conflicts between the United States and in Europe, but it is not just within the Donald Trump years. It is it it exists for many years, but before Donald Trump getting the White House office to Joe Biden or maybe Obama or even before, and there is a trade deficit on the side of the United States from the European Union. So I would say it is just a style for the Donald Trump to get the European to the table to negotiate, or maybe he would like to not the European Union to give up something to
But
try to
sir,
benefit the United States.
but sir, given
Yeah.
that the US-EU trade volume reached nearly $1 trillion in 2024, so how disruptive could these tariffs be for business?
You mean how disruptive on the potential tariff? Are you asking this one?
Yes.
Okay, I would say it is okay. What I truly believe is it may not be as disruptive as the market and all the analysts believe, because there's I would say because the between the European Union and the United States, they have the very close and strong relations for not just a decade, maybe 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, or maybe half of their century. So I would say now the buffering, the so-called the tariff buffering from Donald Trump is just an action, or maybe it's just a move, or maybe just a method for the Donald Trump to get the European Brussels to the negotiation table. And now the Donald Trump is waiting for the European Union to offer what they can offer for the United States. Same as the same. So I could take the same similar example for the Ukrainian crisis. Now Donald Trump is negotiating to try to negotiate directly with Russia, and now the other NATO members and Europe is now fearing, is afraid of whether the United States is trying to betraying the European allies. So I would think, and I would say, Donald Trump is adopting the same actions, and he's waiting for the European Union and see what they can do to try to benefit the American interests in terms of the Donald Trump points of view, of course.
Mhm.